We try and have a very creative curriculum here, very flexible, and so we actually plan to build the India project into the whole school curriculum. Community cohesion is very high on the educational agenda at the moment, and also the provision for gifted and talented. So we've tried to marry the two together. The use of all those resources that we've gathered from visits there, from the resources that the teachers from India have brought over here, have really been exciting for those children, and it's certainly given them an additional challenge. They're now linking with these schools in Bangalore on a regular basis and using media as the key way to communicate and share experiences.
I was fortunate enough to get to go to India. I think the images that I brought back with me, some of those actually challenged what a community is and how we work in a community, and I think that then brought out the discussion.
Did you have a question in your mind that you were going to look at through videoing your class as you were discussing it?
Yeah, I think a little bit was to think about what that word community cohesion meant for us. And I think having the children filming each other, filming me, and all of the discussions that we had, that sort of built the framework for answering that question, really. And it wasn't until we put everything together and watched it as one whole piece that we even had a semblance of an answer.
This year I got to go on the best school trip ever. 2 weeks in India and no children to look after. It was an amazing experience, and the places I went and people I met will stay with me forever. India is truly a country of contrasts. Out of the window of our car I saw evidence of extreme wealth and extreme poverty living side by side. The definition of community cohesion refers to the togetherness and bonding of people within a community, the glue that holds them together. I was really interested in the children's thoughts on this and where they felt they fitted in. We easily identified some of the communities we were a part of and how this is a big part of our identity.
Who do we think we are?
I'm Rachel. I'm part of Brough Primary School Year 6 Mr. Ireland, and I play for the Brough Primary School netball team, South Cave Juniors football team and South Cave Gymnastics Club.
I'm Oliver and I'm part of Brough Primary School Mr. Julie Brown's class. I'm part of Brough School Indian Project and do lots of sports activities.
I'm Yvonne and I go to Brough Primary School. I also go to Chinese School in Hull, and I go to Eagle Club every 2 weeks on Thursday.
I wanted to develop that knowledge into an understanding of the meaning of community and also what happens when a community doesn't work. One of the many things I brought back from my experience to share with my children was a selection of images. One image in particular, of a glass-topped wall surrounding an affluent villa complex, really brought the idea of this home to the children.
It looks so cruel. Why are people getting separated?
It's quite mean. Looks dangerous.
We combined that image of the glass on the wall with some from the media.
There's, in the picture with the fire, people don't look very happy.
Who's fighting who? Who started it?
Why are the people angry? Who are the police trying to stop them getting to?
Where is it happening? Looks like in England.
I never heard of anything like that.
On your screens and on the laptop over there, some pictures and some video. Have a little look and see what you think's going on and why I might have chosen to show you those, thinking about the discussions we've already had. Why have you written that word? What's different about this picture? What's the different feeling?
I think it might be like a wedding.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And the word love, and what's another word? What does a wedding do?
A wedding brings a couple together.
Perfect. So that's an exact opposite of what we've looked at, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why do you think they brought us into this picture? Myself and Miss Lloyd.
Maybe because they might have wanted like a special day, because They didn't normally see like
White people every single day.
Yeah, because it was quite unusual to see a white person. But actually, if you look at their faces, they're having such a lovely day, aren't they? And they wanted to invite us to their wedding because they wanted us to be part of the day. Can you remember what we said when we looked at that picture with the wall and the glass? What did we say that was separating?
the rich and the poor.
Now this is a bit different, this video, because you might notice something about how the people are working and how they're living together. So can you see the difference between those buildings? Look.
That's the house of the start.
Yeah, so they've got all these really nice houses at the start of the street, and then they've got
slum ones.
when we're talking about that word community, whereas we have communities where we're all similar, and we've looked at communities that are living totally separately, and now we've got different people living together.
So it's still not properly community because they're not. I don't think they're treated equally even if they are living alongside each other.
Okay, so you think that if someone's treated differently in a community, that makes them not part of that community?
Well, not particularly, really, a bit, because it might mean that that people are saying you can't do this, and that means they're not part of it, if they're treated differently.
Now, can you think of one of the other conversations that we've had where that's happened? Where somebody looks like they're living as a part of a community, but something happened that prevented them from being an active part? Come on, it's your favourite place.
Bradford?
Yeah. What was one of the problems that happened?
They wouldn't let...
Just hang on a minute, Megan, because you've made all the points now, and he's not normally this quiet. What was one of the really big problems that they had?
They weren't letting them join into the community
As much.
Excluding them.
Yeah, it was. They wanted to have more of their own
people in the council
and things like that, weren't they?
Yeah, they weren't allowing them to.
No, they weren't, and also some of the white Bradford people were thinking, well, why should you?
Yes, we were there first.
Yeah.
As a result of these images, video and discussions, the children have truly been on a journey with me. We have not just studied the area but also touched upon subjects which impact much closer to home.
Your school has a lot of remit beyond basic education to provide to the community. Where do you think a project like this sits in delivering these other remit?
It's really important, and I think not just for the children, but for their parents and grandparents. And if children can take home these really vital messages to their parents, then hopefully that's going to have an even bigger impact on our community. And a community like ours in the East Riding, where they've got limited experience of different cultures, then I think it's absolutely vital.
Rachel, is it able to deliver the remit beyond basic curriculum?
I think so, definitely. I think that's, as Mrs. Pearson said, I think that's hugely important, that it's a part of the community, and our community here is perhaps it is different to the communities that we experienced in India, but I think the understanding and the knowledge and the experiences that we've had in India ourselves, I think if we can share that with this community, I think that's a hugely beneficial thing.
You've talked about the glue that keeps communities together.
Yes.
Through all this, did you discover what that glue was?
Hard work, I think. The children sort of talked about you have to be a part of a community, you have to put things into it, and it takes the work of everybody putting their bit in, and also sort of including other people, and I think that's the challenge, and that was maybe where the problems lay in a lot of the images that we sort of looked at, really, and particularly some of the film footage. It's possible for people to live together and not be a community. Now we've got different people living together.
So it's still not properly community because they're not. I don't think they're treated equally even if they are living alongside each other.
Okay, so you think that if someone's treated differently in a community, that makes them not part of that community?
Well, not particularly, really, a bit, because it might mean that people are saying you can't do this, and that means they're not part of it, if they're treated differently.
Yeah, that's excellent.
The local authority and everybody else must ask a lot of you as a head teacher. There are lots of initiatives. How are you able to deliver that?
think we have to put our school first, and we have to look what are we capable and what are we ready to take on next. And then you find some enthusiastic members of staff, because there's not one person can deliver all this, so it's shared leadership, such as Joanna and Rachel in this project. Without them, this project would not have got off the ground. Now it's working very well, but it's still only a very, very small area of our school that are benefiting from that at the moment. The next big challenge is that we have to then take that and spread that throughout the whole school.
It's a lot of burden on your shoulders, isn't it? How are you taking it on?
I think working with the Gifted and Talented group has really helped, because it's focused us in on a few children, and they're sensible and mature enough that you can learn along with them. Then I think they will take it to the rest of the children, and that's why we specifically chose 2 children from each year group, a boy and a girl. And particularly with the video, it works perfectly, because the children have had a hand in making the video, and then they feel like they've got some ownership of delivering that as well.
What do you think about what we've been doing with St Anne's in the India project?
I think it helps us understand other people, and everyone has a strength and a weakness.
And that's kind of like being a community as well, because
joining people together.
Yeah.
You've done very well in keeping it objective, and that you're reflecting and not reacting to a situation.
We did the reactions right there and then, and I know that we wrote things down, and we spoke to each other, and we had a cry when something was hard. And then it was really interesting for me to see the similar reaction that I got from the children as I felt the first time I saw that image, or that sort of road scene and whatever. So I think it was fairly easy for me to remove myself from that.
One thing I picked up watching the children's expressions was that they're very used to seeing images in media of India and all over the world. But because there were 2 teachers there who they knew and they could relate to, then it had such a huge impact on the children.
This year I got to go on the best school trip ever. 2 weeks in India and no children to look after. It was an amazing experience, and the places I went and people I met will stay with me forever.
Why did you decide to get rid of the original sound that was on the other clip?
I wanted to sort of pull in something that I was talking about, so that was the footage of the road coming past. And I was just a bit conscious that I didn't want the sound of the film clip to take away from what I was saying.
We really want to hear a little bit of that sound.
Okay.
So I think what I'd like you to do is, if we can just raise a little bit of that original sound, yeah?
Okay.
It was an amazing experience, and the places I went and people I met will stay with me forever.
Oh yeah.
So
India is truly...
It's nice because we can still hear you clearly. Having the atmosphere is really useful, because it makes what you're seeing much more alive, and it really gives you a sense of place with what you're actually seeing. Yeah, that's great.